Hi, sweetie. I'm going to get started on your reading. I already told you I started a reading before I asked you what you wanted it to be about, and it's a general reading. So I'm going to do this one, and you can let me know how you feel, if it touched base on things that are right. If you feel like it makes sense to you, let me know. If it doesn't make sense, I could try to redo it. But also, I wanted to do the one for your mom as well, and I did start that one, and it wasn't, I didn't get into tarot yet with that reading. At first I started doing, it's called automatic writing. Basically, I write down everything that comes to mind and I just let the pen do all the work, basically. It's kind of the same thing, like where I'm typing in the chat in that group, but it's more of just me internalizing all these things and then putting it down on paper versus typing it up. So it has to do with mediumship, speaking to your mom, and actually seeing past experiences. So after this reading, I will try to continue to do that reading for you, and then I will try to do an additional tarot reading towards your mother. But I wanted to know if there was any specific questions you had relating to her, or if you had any questions for her, if you have any questions for me before I start that additional reading. So I had already explained to you in the past reading I did for you, how I like to do my readings and how I go about it, how I go about them. But I want to just go briefly and explain to you what I did in this this spread. I did do it's called a horseshoe spread. It's a 7-card spread, and then I pulled 2 additional I call them clarification or summary cards at the very end, but one of them actually jumped out at me when I was shuffling, so I just put that one aside until I was ready to read it. So there's 2 at the end, and if you want, I would suggest taking a notepad and pen or paper or whatever and jot down notes. Pause the video if you need to. Just take notes if you have any questions. To me, it's easier to take notes since you can't ask those questions to me directly as I'm making this video. Since we're not in person and I'm not doing a live reading for you, you can't just ask right away. So I suggest grabbing a pen and paper if you have any questions or concerns as they come up. So yeah, I'm going to get started. The first card that I pulled for you is the Knight of Cups, and it's actually reversed. So this is what it usually looks like, Knight of Cups. But reversal cards, I don't know if you got any in your last reading, but reverse cards have multiple meanings. It could mean the exact opposite of what this card means, or it could represent somebody else's feelings. It could represent the past. It just has multiple meanings, and I tend to just write my notes as I go along. So yeah, like what I do, I spread the cards out in the spread, get my general feeling from them, my gut instinct, and then I go through my tarot books. So this one, I kind of wrote down my mixed feelings about it since it is reversed in the notes. So the Knight of Cups reversed. So it talks about a lover or a loved one who proposes a relationship or marriage. Knight in shining armor. So this knight, usually the other knights are really fast-paced, chaotic, like, it's hard to describe those if I'm not holding the card, but this card is the total opposite. This is the lover. This is the actual, like, when you are a kid and you dream of who you want to be with for the rest of your life, and you imagine this knight in shining armor basically taking care of you and swooping you off your feet. That's what this guy represents. He is that image of that person. Since this is cups and water usually revolve around feelings and emotion. strong feelings, sensitivity, or creativity. There's a calm. So I don't know if this is talking about your husband, talking about his personality and your relationship with him and that sort of thing. Connected to the perfect love or lover, shares the same dreams and hopes and goals. Platonic friends becoming more. So I had a feeling that your husband was going to come into the picture in this reading, and I'll get more into that further in the reading. A lot of it I felt uneasy, but I don't know if it's having to do with your husband or if it's financial things that are making me feel uneasy, but I will try to come back to him later in the reading. So the next card that I pulled for you is the Queen of Cups. This is the person that is loved and admired. She's a desired love object. Beautiful woman placed at the edge of an ocean, lake, or water. And the Queen of Cups is actually often shown as a mermaid or a siren, and I don't know if you know the mythological aspect of mermaids and what they did in the past or what sailors believed in them, but they were beautiful, and their music, their song basically leads men, I don't want to say to their death, but that's the history books behind mermaids. And this coming up, I think it's talking about you, desired love object, and the previous card was talking about your husband. So I have a feeling it says, let's see, bridging the gap between conscious and unconscious mind, inhibited connection with feelings. The cup, again, equals, the cup and water, again, equals emotions and feelings. So the Queen of Cups, signifies the need to understand. There's something that is hidden. The need to understand something. Object of someone's sincere affection. So it's talking about your husband, and then the Queen comes up. So I want to say that he's loving and adoring towards you, but I have a feeling that there's something not negative, but that there's something on somebody's mind, and it's kind of put on the back burner. I don't know if any of this is making sense. Let me know. So the next card that I pulled for you, I'm trying to see if it was, I don't think it was reversed. So this is the Empress. Fertility, abundance, emotional wealth, motherhood, and it's the link between nature, connection with motherhood. And it talks about pregnancy or pregnancies. So this came up and I was immediately like, is she thinking about becoming pregnant again? Or is there a possibility that you guys will become pregnant like soon in the future? And this isn't the first card that I pulled up. It might come up later in the reading, but it's talking about babies, making babies. Bringing food to the table. So bringing food to the table, I immediately felt like you end up becoming a breadwinner in the family, that you are bringing home the money to take care of family, bringing food to the table, like I don't want to say that he loses his job, but something comes up, I want to say, where it's money is an issue. I don't want to say somebody loses their job, but like money is going to be either is an issue, or basically it's you taking care of business, if that makes sense. So you're going to be taking care of business, bringing food to the table, and then if you see around her, Judy, okay?
Yeah, I was just talking.
Okay, so around her head is a jeweled crown. There's 12 jewels, and that represents 12 months of the year. And if you see, she's actually wearing a necklace. I don't know if you could actually see that tiny, but she's wearing a necklace, and there's 4 stones on it. So the 4 stones represent 4 seasons of birth. Let's see, blossom, fruition, and decay. So it talks about death in the family or possibilities of miscarriage. So just a warning, if you do plan to become pregnant, I want to give you the heads up, not to scare you, but to actually, if you are trying to become pregnant or if you are going to become pregnant, be open and talk to your doctor. Tell him exactly how you're feeling, and if you feel like something isn't right, you need to voice your concerns and make sure your concerns are heard, because it, not to scare you, but just to give you a heads up. And it talked about 12 months of the year, so I don't know if this is within the next year or so that something's going to be coming around where you are either pregnant or talking about pregnancy or what have you, but that's going to come up. Time for birth, literal or creative. So literally could be having a baby, or creative, meaning that you are getting all these new ideas and it's a birth of something new. Let's see. Whatever has been gestating inside is already... Excuse me, let me pause the video real quick and talk to Jude. Okay, so Jude is being loud. Okay, time for birth, literal or creative. Okay, so whatever has been gestating or being made or created, whether it's a literal birth or this idea that you've had, it's starting to come about, basically, that it's going to make itself known and it's going to happen, basically. It's going to start. Whatever has been gestating inside is ready to be born, either a child or an idea, and these things need to be nurtured to bring to full potential. Time for growth, full maturity. So full maturity, when I was writing full maturity, I felt like inside, like, your personality, you have came from such a diverse background with your mother and the past, your relationship with your mother and that sort of thing. It feels like you've finally gotten to this point in your life that you're ready to not let go, but rise above it and be more mature. It's like the difference between, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's like at one point in your life, you were this party person that you were like wanting to have fun. I'm not saying that that's you. I'm just generalizing, making a statement, trying to make an analogy of what this means. But at one point, it's like you had this different life or whatever, and now you are more mature. You're a little wiser. You're time to kind of like, I want to say settle down, but you're coming to that point in your life where it's like, okay, like, this is what's important to me. You realize what's important in life, or what is important to you in life, and you're wanting to work towards that. And it talks about art. So I don't know if you are into art, music, drawing, painting, singing. I don't know if you're into the arts, but it's coming up. And I don't know if that was an idea of yours that you were contemplating kind of expanding more into that and get more into it again. Like at one point you put it on the back burner, or it could just be your dreams, your goals, or whatever that you had for yourself in life, that you might want to get back into it. Say it be school or a certain hobby, something that you enjoy doing, that you are interested in doing. You're gonna start doing it more. Let me know if any of this makes sense. Sometimes I'm just rambling. Okay, so let's see. It talks about self-expression, and then offspring becoming independent, sadness, but at the same time, pride. Okay, so when I was writing that down, I immediately felt your mom surrounding me when I was writing that. And I'm like, okay, this reading is for you, not your mom. And I'm questioning, why would she make herself known when I'm writing this? And immediately I felt like she was sad because she doesn't get to spend the time she needs, not needs, but should have spent time with you the way she should have. I don't know if that makes sense, but she's not guilt, but like, yeah, I guess it's guilt that it should have been different, that she's sad for the way things happened, that at the same time, she's watching you grow up before her eyes. She could see you. She could see you and your daughter and your family, and she's proud and she's happy of where you are. And that's what I felt when I was writing that. So your mom is coming into this reading too. So the next card that I pulled for you, let's see, is the Hanged Man reversed. So this represents a sacrifice, a forfeit for forfeiting one thing to gain something more valuable or desired. If you can see, it looks like he's in an uncomfortable position, hanging upside down or what have you, but it's not an uncomfortable situation for him. He isn't bothered. Almost, I want to say he's like serene looking, like he's content in his situation. And if you could see his legs, it's an inverted triangle, the way he has his legs posed. That represents the descent from higher to lower, conscious to unconscious, sacrifice. So it talks about needing a different perspective, different from traditional values of society. So the last card was talking about this new thing that is supposed to come up, this new idea or this old idea coming back up, and then it's talking about different from traditional values of society. So are you into tattoos? That's one thing. My face keeps getting tickled. That's one thing that keeps coming up, and I'm like, why? Art. I don't know if you are into art or into tattoos, but that's coming up. Also, I don't know your marriage arrangement between you guys, between you and your husband. I don't know the dynamic, but this card and then a few others coming up might talk about a change in your relationship and it not being traditional. This change isn't a traditional thing that you guys are going to change in your relationship. I don't want to put out negativity, so I'm leaving it open for you to interpret. I don't know if there's going to be either a third person, or he's going to ask for a third person, or you're going to ask for a third person in the relationship, or if you're looking for something else, or I don't know, but that comes up in multiple cards, and I don't want to say anything negative, and I don't want to put those negative thoughts in your head to make you feel insecure. That's not my intention whatsoever. I'm just telling you what these cards, like my gut feelings, get from it. So don't feel insecure whatsoever, but yeah, that comes up. It's something that's not traditional. Like if you go out into society, if you put the group of mass society in one group, it's not what they would choose for themselves, basically, and that's the idea that's coming about. So the next card that I pulled for you is the Ace of Cups. New relationships, powerful emotions, love, marriage, motherhood, bringing up children. Bringing up children again. So, which one was it? It was the Empress. This card talked about fertility and children. And now this card is talking about more children. So that could be a new relationship. That, like this last card was talking about somebody new coming into the situation. So it could be a child, could be something else. But yeah, it's talking about pregnancies. And then again, water and cups equal feelings and emotions. The cup is, if you could see, the cup is actually overflowing with water, which that is overflowing with emotions. The water lilies, I don't know if you could actually see water lilies. Let me see. At the very bottom of the page, but there's water lilies.
How much?
He wants to see.
Ah,
okay.
I can see it.
Okay. So down at the bottom, there's some water lilies. The water lilies equal emotional growth. And I don't see it in here, but sometimes there's a dove pictured on these cards. So each deck is drawn differently, and each deck has their own interpretation. So I kind of throw my own instincts and gut and what I know. The book that I was reading doesn't have anything, or this card doesn't have anything on the doves, but sometimes other decks have doves on this card. And the dove, let's see, peaceful, loving emotions. And then the aces symbolize number 1, since it's the beginning of the deck. So it goes the ace, which is the 1, and then 2 of cups, 3 of cups, and it goes all the way up to 10 of cups, and then it goes into the major cards. So this being number 1, new beginning, fresh start, manifestation, and love. And it talks about a love affair between adults. So I don't know if this means the husband has a new person to bring about, or it's bringing about a certain change, or feelings may change, and someone may want out, but talks about the outpour of emotions for a child. And it talks about purity and happiness and love and stuff in this card. So I don't know if something new coming about is either financial, or since it is a general reading, I don't know if it is having to do with a love affair or what have you. I don't want to put any of those negative thoughts in your head. That's not my intention whatsoever. But that's the general meaning of this card, that a new relationship, and it could represent a new child. So just keep that in mind. Talks about purity, gain that can be enjoyed from a loving relationship.
Mommy.
Hold on one second, Jude wants something. Okay, so, excuse me, this next card is the 2 of Pentacles. This is a juggler, obviously. You could see him juggling 2 pentacles, and usually it means finances, but it could represent relationships or anything else since it's a general reading. But the general aspect of this card is instability. The juggler is tossing pentacles, and sometimes in other decks, instead of juggling pentacles, what he's doing is walking on a tightrope, and it's like an uneasy, unbalanced feeling, and it could represent pretty much anything. So, but this marks a period where it's either way, there's uncertainty, flexibility, balancing, a balancing act. Some cards show 2 ships. I don't know if this one, okay. So this one, right here and right here, there's 2 ships out in the ocean. So that represents shifting seas, rise and fall. So shifting seas, it's kind of like the Wheel of Fortune, where it's like rise and fall. It's like some days it's good, some days it's bad. You don't really know what you're gonna get. It's just a crazy mix of free will and fate, basically, and it's uncertainty, basically. Fluctuation, instability, could be financial or with relationships. There's a promise of hope, but no guarantee, and there's lots and lots and lots of tension. So the last card, well, this isn't the last card. I pulled 2 clarification cards, but this is the outcome of the situation. And I usually don't get a good feeling about this card. This is the 8 of Cups. Turning away from the known, moving towards the unfamiliar. Cups are always, cups and water are always feelings and emotions. So if I bring that up, that's what those, hold on, let me adjust my hands. My hands were cramping. So cups and water are emotions. So if you could see, the cups have been stacked like meticulously, like they were intentionally stacked that way. Cups have been stacked purposely, representing your current situation, life, lifestyle, work, relationship, the foundation of something you personally set up or built. A lot of effort was put into it. This structure no longer works. It indicates that this person is moving up to something that has a higher meaning or value. Time to let go of something from the past. Lots of energy was put into this project, yet in spite, it is no longer working and must be left behind. There comes a time when it's clear that a situation or a relationship or friendship or just like work, anything, there's a time that these things have run its course and the only response is to walk away. The hooded figure, this person right here, it looks like a cave, but it's actually a person climbing up the mountainside. Where was I? The hooded figure doesn't look back, but only focuses on the future, towards the unknown. This requires faith and courage and to abandon the familiar, but sometimes it's the only option. So with those last few cards, I really did not get a good feeling. Like throughout the whole reading, it felt generalized towards your relationship, your family, with your husband and your kids, kid or kids. I don't know if you're going to get pregnant again, but at some point I feel like some things are going to get rocky and I don't know where it's going, basically. Or it could represent your job. So I don't know what your opinion is of where you are working or where your husband is working, but there's some uncertainty. So it could be that one of you guys are going to be looking for a new job or just a different situation. Could be your living circumstance, your house. I don't know if you're renting, if you're having issues about that, if you're having issues with your landlord. It is a general reading, so don't focus on all the negative about the relationship in the future. but keep that in mind, basically. I did pull 2 clarification cards, and I was pretty surprised. So here they are. I think this one came first. So this is the one that jumped out at me, and then this one is the one I pulled after. So the 6 of Wands, I'm going to do that one first. So I wrote down 6 of Wands, success in the eyes of the world. What people see from the outside, everything is perfect. Lots of support to lean on, mostly friends, but also family. Taking a step back and appreciating your journey and all that you've accomplished. So when I was writing down success in the eyes of the world, what people see from the outside, everything is perfect, I felt like maybe either now or in the future there's going to come a time where things aren't as perfect as they seem, either at home or at work, and there's going to be these pent-up emotions and you don't really show like the trouble that you guys are facing. Hold on, let me get Jude real quick. I think he went outside. So yeah, it talks about not showing your issues, like not showing your dirty laundry. Basically, you have all this dirty laundry at home, you don't show it to the world. Basically, if you're having issues with your relationship or at work or what have you, whatever's bugging you, you put on your happy face and you do what you need to do, and you don't let people know that it's bugging you. But if there comes a time where you need to rely on other people, there is a whole bandwagon of people behind you that are willing to support you and support your daughter if needed. If you need help with your daughter for whatever reason, if you need that extra support, you have that life system, you have that life support right there. You have I want to say that your family isn't that close. You might have a few family members that you could support, that you could rely on, but it feels like more like towards friends, that your friends are more like your family. So if there comes a time that you feel like you need help, need extra help, they're going to be there for you. So the next card, the final card that I pulled for this reading, is the Moon. This is a very mysterious card. Jude wants to see it. Got this one Donald Trump looking hair going all over the place. What the heck?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay. So there is the Moon. Uncertainty, doubts, something is hidden, confusion, lack of clarity. Moon is a female energy, and it talks about fertility. And I don't know what the number 28 means, if it means anything to you. Usually 28 is revolving around the female cycle and that sort of thing, so it's bringing up fertility again. So I don't know if you are trying to conceive or if you are going to conceive, but it brings up babies again, so I don't know. Heads up on that.
28 is a big number.
Jude says 28 is a big number, and I think he's right. So 28 days, 28 weeks, I don't know, but keep track of your monthly cycle. And I talked about previously in another card, if you are to conceive, to make sure you are actively talking to your doctor about how you're feeling physically due to miscarriage. I've miscarried, and I've actually had a tubal pregnancy, and parts of that I struggled really hard emotionally. So I know that there was nothing that I could have done to prevent it or fix it or what have you, but just keep that in mind if you are wanting to plan another pregnancy, that you need to actively get your doctor involved to kind of guide you, and maybe see a nutritionist just to make sure that you are taking the right steps to prevent anything. So fertility comes up again. And then let's see, Moon is a female energy. I already read that. Instincts, intuition, conscious, subconscious mind, phase of fruitation and uncertainty. Clarity and control aren't always an option. Let feelings and intuition guide you. Important to take things slowly and let it run its course. It's better to take things slowly and let it run its course than to try to force something. Otherwise, it's going to create anxiety. You're going to have anxiety about it, and don't push the subject. If it feels like anxiety is building because of this, don't push it. Let it run its course, basically. I don't know. So to summarize it, it feels like we touch base on pretty much everything. Generally, general reading usually touches base on everything. Love, finances, family, friends. So I think it touched base on everything, and it feels like somewhere down the line something is going to come up that you're going to kind of question either yourself or your situation, and to kind of take things slowly, get the facts, don't put too much energy into it. It talks about relaxing. The moon is a very dreamy mystery card, so if you have instincts about a certain situation, if you have a gut feeling like, well, I don't really trust this person or this situation, or it could even, if you don't, it doesn't even have to be about trusting somebody, but if you have a feeling like you want to move on in your job and find a new job, follow your gut instincts. Don't let things hold you back, basically. So yeah, that's all I have for right now. Let me know if you have any questions about your mom, so I could kind of try to focus or hone in on those questions, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, bye!